You would be offensive.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I want.
Oh, yeah. He said he gone.
I don't need my family to run after me.
CPD.
Yeah.
Don't.
Oh, man. I understand.
I don't
This is
need
a
my
lot of
family
heat.
to come after me. What's going on? What are you doing?
Huh? Yeah. Oh, man. Perfecto. Ta-da. Oh, you perfect. All right. So this is good to go. Now we're here to try to put together these keys in order to make a transformation so that we can function differently. And this isn't far-fetched because people always look for some form of empowerment. Some of your best speakers on the planet is motivational speakers. You could be a millionaire. All you got to do is think this way, right? And it catches people's attention. You are somebody, and his nose started going out like Pinocchio. Remember that commercial? But empowerment, and that's what we look for as humans. We always want to be empowered so that you can live a better life. And y'all keep saying the key things about food freedom so you can have this freedom in your life. So you won't be a slave to a lower vibrational energy. Now, a lot of this is, keep in mind, I use the word breatharian. I say I'm Elitom and I'm a breatharian. Now, that word breatharian is new. It came out after World War II about, a news reporter used it and just said people who don't eat are breatharians. But it's stuck with the movement because it tells a lot of truth. Breath, a breatharian. Now this comes from an ancient word that means anidia, and anidia is the ancient word for fasting. You need a translator? And that means to eat very little or none at all. Now for a person to eat very little or none at all, they got to be getting their fuel source from something else. That's it. That's what we eat for, fuel. They done figured it out. And this is ancient knowledge. It's just making a resurrection back to modern day. Now, of course, for the average modern day person, when they first hear about this, food freedom is a shocker. Because you've been eating all of your life and everybody around you. It's in the media. And even for myself, when I heard about it, I said, what? Yeah, that's normal. Normal response. But when you start really researching and be open-minded and see what everybody's saying, both the pros and the cons. And back when I came into this 19 years ago, there wasn't that much information. Today, there's more information than ever that we know about that's dealing with food freedom. And there's many different people now having the experience on many different levels than ever before. And it's not going to quit. And not only on this level as a human being, even when you deal with the nations, everybody is talking about free energy, whether it's working with us or whether it's working with the equipment and the computer technology that we're dealing with. Free energy. We even got those battery packs up now to what? Charge up your cell phones. Right. When I was long distance biking, I bought a little solar panel to take with me. You know, take everything with you. Free energy. Because the more freedom you have, the more you can do other things. And what free energy is saying is, this energy is already here, you just have to use it. Even Nikolai Tesla was talking about this free energy. Then we got what? Wilhelm Reich that was talking about orgone energy. Orgone just means orgasm, was sexual energy. See, everybody's talking the same thing, just using many different names. Now, here we are in Israel, and we at this good retreat here. And we're going to start out talking about this energy. And we're going to use the word, the Hebrew word, ruach. Ruach. That's how you pronounce it, right? Ruach. Now let's look and see what ruach says. Right, this is in the scriptures and everything, talking about this ruach. Now look how they start out this definitions. They say it is not a person. Now the reason why they started out like that, because when Christianity came about, they came up with this thing called the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, Christianity. So when some people look at the Holy Ghost or something like that, what is that? So they have to tell you, but it's not a person, it's a spirit. But it's going back to ruach. Now, so they got to tell you it's not a person so you won't get confused. But it is a force. And it is invisible like the wind. Kind of matches with breatharianism now. It's invisible. You're dealing with breath. It's invisible like the wind, and because it can be felt or experienced but not seen. You can feel it, you can experience it, but it's not seen. And we're in a good age now because as we say this, like if we were to go 100 years ago and you was to say this to somebody, everybody was still religious and spooky. But now we got more energy workers ever on the planet. Everybody knows about Reiki. Energy healers. Yeah, everybody can flow with their energy now. And we got equipment that can show the electromagnetic field that's coming off of everybody's body that we call an aura. So now we can say we're dealing with something that's invisible. It's not seen, but more people are educated now on how to use it. We got energy healers all over the place, everywhere I go, working with this force that's called ruach. It's invisible and it can be felt. Some people more magnified than others. We even got Kirlian photography that could show you everybody not only have it, some people are more dimmer than others, like a light. And dealing on a pranic path, we want to make our electromagnetic field stronger. Is that making sense? A weak person with a weak field, or it's just how we say it, as a normal food eater, no, you're not going to be sustained by this force. This ruach force, we want more coming through us and around us so we can use it. Now, I seen them in a science magazine one time. They did a whole write-up on a black hole. They was telling them the black hole does this, it's gravitational pull. Now, this is good. Nobody never took a ship to a black hole. Didn't even get close to a black hole. But the reason they was able to tell so much about the black hole is due to the forces that made things happen around it that were invisible. It's sort of like they got a term called dark energy or dark matter. They know that it exists even though they can't see it. It's due to the effects that it's doing, the force. So it's the same with us. We have a force that's coming off of us that we're working with. Everybody's working with it. And we know that it exists now due to the knowledge that's out. So as I sit here food free, I just learned how to use the force. Learn how to open up the energy channels in the body, which you're learning through meditation. And it's our responsibility to keep them open. And the more you keep them open through meditation, it'll get stronger and stronger. Now that's the ruach, right here in Israel. Uh-oh. Now let's go further. In India, they use a term called prana, Hindu word. Another culture, somewhere far away. But listen what they said. They said it's a life force, a vital principle, and sometimes described as originating from the sun and connected to the elements. Now keep in mind that not only we got an electromagnetic field in all physical matter, we live in the electromagnetic field of the sun. You ain't got to be directly under the sun. It's already affecting you. You live in this field sort of like a flea living on a dog. That's why when you meditate, they saying basically you can work with this prana all over the place. To them, prana is just like ruach. Two different cultures, two different words. And pra means movement, and na means constant. It's constantly moving, energy flow. And this isn't far-fetched again, because in today's science, they're using a word called life force energy, and whatever they're using. Do you understand? They talk about the same force, they just modernized it in their own terminology. Ancient cultures already been talking about it, whether it's ruach or whether it's prana. So now, even though I call myself a breatharian, there's some say I live on prana. Pranic lifestyle, you hear me use that word. What you're saying is you're working with the life force energy that's going through us and keeping us alive, that connects all elements and it originates from the sun. That's what they just said. Now let's take it further. In China, they use a word called qi. Let's see what they say. It's in the foundation of their martial arts of Kung Fu. Getting that qi flowing, that's all through us. And this is what they say. It's a vital force. Now this is going to get good. They say it's the air. It's the air we breathe in. It's a life force. It's the energy flow. That's what prana said. That's what ruach said. Whole nother culture, whole nother civilization just gave another word to it. And that culture demonstrated in their Kung Fu. They got, Chinese medicine. That's all in there working with qi. Energy healing, all of this. It's not new again. This is ancient knowledge coming back to the scene. And basically what they're saying, all cultures got it too. Through meditation, you can transform yourself to work more with this qi, prana, or ruach, to where you could be sustained off of it. Eating little, very little, or none at all. So when Nikolai Tesla was working with free energy, he could have said this is ruach. He could have said it was prana. He just said life force energy. Same with Wilhelm Reich. He just called it organ. Making instruments out of it. But this is what we're using. This is what we live in. This is a substance that we live in. Now let's look at what Japan say. They used a word called ki. Again, they said it's the air. We're living in it. We're breathing it. They say it's the atmosphere. Now look at that word, sphere. Atmos. That's dealing with basically cosmic energy. Remember last retreat when I was talking about the cosmic forces hitting the earth? You're living in it. It's the atmosphere. They say it's the what? Heart, mind, spirit, feelings, and intention. Because that's another thing, your intent. Your intent gives the energy power. Japan just go a little further with it. That's why in meditation they tell you again, what? Your thoughts is coming past, that's not you, it's just the energy. Just let it pass by. As soon as you give it your attention, you just gave it power. And that can what? Affect your life due to your thoughts. Because everybody's creating their life with their thoughts. So therefore, to be food free, you gotta know it. You putting attention to that new thought. You're commanding the ruach, the prana, the breath, the air to do what you want it to do. It's just as real. Now we're going to get to the big boy, the ka. Now that comes from Africa. And dealing with your Egyptian tombs and Kemet and stuff, they got a meditation called the Merkaba. The pharaohs were fed by their light body. This is in all of mythical lore. You seen the Pharaoh sitting there with the serpent on top of his head. What was they talking about? This is what they say with the Kayas. It's electrical. So when I tell people the same energy that charges you up when you sleep at night is the same energy that charges up the cell phone. That ain't even no lie. I'm not making it up. You are basically, this is a bio machine. This is a biocomputer. It's getting charged up from somewhere. And it ain't got nothing to do with what you eat. You just seem that way due to you were born into it. Your body, all it works with is light and sound. And sound is another form of light. But due to being born chasing fossil fuels, remember Japan said it's your intention? You gave attention to the thought of you have to eat or you die. So you gave the air power. You gave the chi power, the ruach power to do that. You gave your body power to operate like that. So you have to get a new program to recommand the air, the ruach, the prana, the chi to do what you wanted to do. Because your body's listening.
You're saying that you give the ruach, the command, and then the ruach gives you the command.
Right. Yeah. Because remember when we say how nature works? It works as a whole.
So as I said, he or it gives the command to us. We just need to let go.
Right.
They want to give us the force. That's what you said.
The force is sustaining it. It's doing its job.
They need to do anything.
Right. So he's saying basically the ruach is doing its job, but that's why the human being now in spirituality, if we want to use that word, all you need is self-knowledge to work with it. It's doing its job. That's why sin, when you look up the definition, is a transgression of universal laws. The mind is the problem. It's going against what the ruach is trying to give it. Uh-oh. Making sense now. We're working with it. So look at the Ka. Because Egypt is one of what? Your longest running nations that's on record. So we're going to see what they say what it is. They say it's electrical. Now they say it's a light body.
What they use? What the word that they use?
Ka. K-A.
In Egypt.
Right. The Ka. That's where they get the word the Merkabah. And even in Egypt or Mecca, the Muslims go to the what? Kaaba.
Kaaba.
The Kaaba. So the Merkabah, basically the Ba, that's where the word baby come from. That's the physical body. And the Ka is your light body. It's the electromagnetic field that's around you. Everybody has one. But Egypt is getting straight up now. They're basically saying it's the light body. And the pharaohs was fed by the physical body, the Ba. The Kaaba must become together. They must become one. Remember I said nature works as a whole? But something is wrong if the Ba is going this way and the light body ain't never coming to cannot sustain the physical body. It should be able to. Because you live in light. But the mind's the problem. So, they say it's the light body. Circulating that exists. Oh, this gets good. It's circulating that it exists identically and simultaneously in the third through the sixth dimensions. Now let's see what they're saying. They use that word dimension, but that's to throw everybody off, because when we think of dimension, we don't know what it is. We look it up in the sky because scientists is playing all that game. We're trying to find other dimensions. There ain't no other dimensions. Nature working one. Everything is whole. They're the ones breaking things in pieces. Now they're talking about the third to the sixth dimensions. Now those of y'all who've been listening to my teachings, what chakras I said you need to take care of, and the rest take care of themselves. The first three. 1, 2, 3. The third one, the solar plexus, is very important. It's up over the intestines. Very important. The first and second one is where everybody's stuck at, eating and having sex, like animals. So therefore, you dying like an animal. Right, the energy can't flow upwards. The kundalini, the serpent must come upwards to charge up the third. Now, Egypt comes straight out with it, what the Ka's supposed to do. It's an electricity, it's a light body that goes from the third dimension up to the sixth. That's why the Pharaoh what? Had this going on. Now, why would they skip their intestines? We live in an age now. Have you ever seen anybody get part of their intestines removed? What they call that, a colonoscopy or whatever? Happens all the time. You don't, a intestine is overrated. You don't need no intestine.
מה זה תעשה?
מעיים. Sorry, I didn't get you. Again, the idea, I didn't get it.
There's many people, and I got relatives, who got part of their intestine removed.
Part
Part of it.
of.
Part? Or you get it all removed. You just need a bag of, depending on how much you eat. Right.
But if you remove it, so what?
Well, people put a bag there. There's people walking around with a bag on.
Okay.
But the intestine itself, you don't need it. I'm just saying.
Just an idea.
Maybe I'm just...
This is the next.
But let's don't go on that thought for a minute. It's overrated. It don't need to be filled up like everybody's filling it up. Absolutely not. So keep in mind, breatharianism is just eating very little or none at all. You don't need all of that. The intestine is overrated. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And the pharaohs is basically saying that Ka is dealing with the third dimension, the third chakra, up to the sixth. See, even your seventh chakra, it's determined on how much cosmic energy is going to bring into the body due to the bottom ones. Energy flows upwards. It ain't going to bring in no big influx of cosmic energy if the body's not ready to handle it. That's why you got to work from the foundation up. Uh-oh. Is this making sense?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I didn't.
Huh?
אם השורש סגור, אז זה לא יעלה למעלה. צריך ששלושת אלה יהיו פתוחים, בשביל שהכל יהיה פתוח. תדאגי לאלה לפתוח ולא...
אומר גם שלא תקבלי נגד מהיקום מלמעלה, אם הלמטה לא יהיה מוכן.
מה?
להכין אותם.
במדיטציה, הוא יראה.
So that's why I say all the time, people be going to go get their third eye activated.
Okay.
Their heart chakra open. It ain't going to open up if the bottom one's closed. All you do is come out of there feeling good for a minute. And then you go back to feeling the same way you was feeling before.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth. The snake or the serpent, the symbology, must come up the pole, which is the spinal cord. It's an Adam and Eve story. We all know it. Serpent talking. It's just energy that wants to move. It don't judge good or bad. But it's us who give it the intention on how that serpent going to move. The Ruach. Give it the command. The serpent either going to serve you or it's going to go against you. That's it. Mm-hmm. But it's all around us. So they're saying that this Ka is from the third dimension up to the sixth. Once you got these flowing, you done cleared these ones out. It's flowing. Then that's when the seventh chakra could bring in more cosmic energy to sustain the organism. That's it. Now, let's look at the solar plexus. It got the word solar, which means sun, and then plexus. And this is in a medical book. It's a plexus because it's sort of like all your arteries and veins. A plexus is basically where they all meet at before it goes up and so forth, like an expressway. And there's a radiation automatically coming off of it. That's why it's an energy center. Your heart has a plexus off of it. The throat has a plexus. So there was a time we used to say, well, you can't really see the chakras or understand what they are. Now we got more understanding. Yeah, we can. We know exactly what they are. So it's radiating energies in these areas. But you must get these energies to open up more than what they are at now. That's why what? Meditation is the foundation again. And your intestines is overrated. Right. We want to what? go through the first chakra, open that up. The first chakra is the physical body. That's how you know. So that's how you know you're getting more ruach into the body. More prana, more chi, because the physical body will start feeling a lot more healthier. That's how you know it's open. Ding. Second chakra's open. How do you know? Your personal relationships will be a lot better. So what? They say it's the sexual chakra, but it's dealing with the intimate personal relationship. Of course you're going to feel good if your physical body feel good. It'd be hard for somebody to make you mad. Third chakra, you got more clarity of thought. And those people who go through fasting, not only I cleanse out my physical body, I can think more clearly. Right. The intestines, they're overrated. They're blocking and messing up your thinking. Get that stuff cleaned out so the energy can rise up. And then, like the Pharaoh said, the Ka goes from the third dimension, they're using the word dimension, we're taking that out, up to the sixth. That's when that's opened up, boom, serpent came out, and more cosmic energy came out. So in other words, you got to make a transmission before you get to receive. It's that relationship. Nature can support you then. Right now it can't support you because there's so much cosmic energy around us. I'll use that word. There's so much ruach around us, it'll kill you trying to get into the body. The body protecting you. You ain't ready yet. You have to make that transmission. Open it up. Then more will come in. You being sustained. This making sense now.
Yes.
See, this make meditation fun now. Because you're doing it for a purpose now. You're just not doing it to look cute. You're doing it to transform. That's what everybody been doing. They must have cut that out the book. Now listen at this. Oh man, this is what they say about the Ka. See, we was walking around thinking that the instructions been lost. They've been in our face, we just didn't know what they was used for. Now they say Ka equals life force. There's a life force energy. And the raising of the sexual energy is essential to have along of the meridian system. Wait a minute. Hold on, did I say that? Oh, no, I read it wrong. My own handwriting, I can't read it. They say that Ka equals life force. The raising of the sexual energy is essential of clearing the meridian system. Now we have a meridian system. It's an acupuncture. It's an energy system we have. The foundation of us, we're energy beings. Medical field, we could call it our neural system. There's electricity. It took electricity to make my finger move. It fired off from the brain to make it move. Faster than the speed of light. Your thought goes faster than the speed of light. This is heavy. So therefore, the sexual energy, which is down here, the Ka is saying is, it must be used to clear out the meridians, to clear them. It will come up by its own nature. That's what it does. Heat rises upwards. But if you got everything blocking it, it can't come upwards. So therefore, you'll never be able to make a transmission so you can receive. That's why the scriptures say you take one step and the Lord will take two. You know, they're using that terminology. Right. But you don't want to walk the way. That's what he's saying. The Ruach ain't go nowhere. Here, just like yesterday. But we coming into the realization we're going back home now. Uh-oh. So listen at this. So they say the raising of the sexual energy. That's why I teach sexual energy. Some people say, why are you always talking sex? Why are you always talking sexual energy? I'm trying to help you.
No, because when you say sexual energy, you don't mean sex. You mean organ. You mean chi.
The chi of it.
The chi.
The energy of it.
The energy.
Which is a creative force.
Yeah. Okay.
Powerful force that we have access to. And it gives vitality and nourishment to the physical body. It's doing it now, but it's at a low level because we chose to go get our nourishment somewhere else. We were born into it. We didn't know. But now we're turning this back around. Uh-oh. Now we can tap into, grab this sexual energy and use it to give vitality to the body, to the mind, and bring it on upward.
So what's the difference between the prana or the chi to sexual energy? It's like the energy doing intercourse, or the energy doing a connection.
She said the key word.
זה כל הרעיון, זה נורא מבלבל אצלו. Just 1 minute ניבו. זה בדיוק הבעיה. הוא אומר סקשואל אנרגי, הוא לא מתכוון לסקס, הוא מתכוון לצ'י, לאנרגיית חיים, לויטל.
אז לא, זה...
הוא לא מדבר אף פעם בהקשר של סקס.
זה לא סקס פיזי, אבל זה האנרגיה שעושה חיבור.
זה אנרגיית חיים? החיבור הזה יוצר חיים?
האנרגיית חיים זה האנרגיית חיים. האנרגיה מינית זה חיבור של האנרגיה הכלי.
Right.
זה הופך ל... Tell me if...
sexual energy has sex with itself?
Yeah, like the energy is doing an intercourse with something, like an energy with the vessel, with our body. Our body is a vessel, and the energy is going through it. So that's the sexual energy. It's not the energy, it's the sexual energy.
Right, because it's been transmuted for another job. It's the same energy like she said. It is the ruach, it is prana. But now, since it's coming through our body, we call it sexual energy.
Because it's doing something.
Because it's doing something, and your body is sexual, because keep in mind, for you to make a new cell in the body, it basically is having sex.
Yeah.
It's giving birth. Constantly. It's constantly dying off, and it's constantly recreating itself. It's a creative force.
So why most of the people are stuck in sexual energy, in like having sex? Where is the problem is stuck? Why?
Well, because there's a dealing with creation, nature. It wants to continue. So there is a true thing called being horny. The hormones come out. Right. We all go through it. That's why a healthy body is a sexual body, and all it wants to produce and continue. So a lot of our thoughts and ideas that come on our mind is basically nature saying, I want to create. But since we're getting this knowledge now, the average person is stuck into the sex realm. I just felt horny and this is what happened. So we got a big thing, people caught into what? Masturbation and porn now. We got porn that's bigger than everything before now. Sexual energy is taking place. But now since we're saying, oh, I can use it for other things, just for that type of pleasure, and for that type of making babies and stuff, now we can make that energy rise and heal the body and heal the mind. See, the brain, let's look at the organ of a brain. It's the most complex organ we have. And it needs the most energy out of all the organs. That's why the pharaohs had to make this energy come up to the third eye at least. Had to. Other than that, you're going to not be sustained by prana. Because the brain needs some type of stimuli. Remember we said that earlier? It don't care if it get it in sex. It don't care if it get it in food. It don't care if it get it in drugs, alcohol. Energy loves to move. All I want to do is move. It's not judging it if it's good or bad. That's what it does. So that's why you want to harness the sexual energy, the serpent, bring them upwards, and then allow it to work with you and start using it differently instead of the energy being stuck going downwards, continuing the sexual act. Then it's going to take you to another frequency. Because every time, because keep in mind, even to make the manifestation of sexual fluids, your body is using the best cells in the body to make it. They don't care what your lifestyle is. I'm going to use your best cells because it has the power to create a person. All of us are sitting here right now because of that energy. Somebody said, doo-doo-doo-doo. How they say, you're just a gleam in your daddy's eye. Powerful energy. And we have access to it. So turning that back around, that's what we want. Now listen at this. Now the car, they're going straight out to it saying it's the life force, it's the light body, and they're going straight into it that the sexual energy must clear out the meridians. For what? Now what's about to happen?
Nourish yourself?
to nourish yourself, to give you vitality. But this is where the transformation get good. That's why I don't stop here. Now, all of us is dealing with our electromagnetic field. And you want to make it brighter, more vibrant. So now there's a thing called a light body. The cells of the body eat a high frequency energy called ATP. That's a high frequency energy in the atmosphere. That's what they eat off of. That's the food you eat, and I don't care what it is. So now you got this other fuel source you tapped into. You cleaning out your meridians with this sexual energy through meditation. So now there's a thing called the light body. Let's see what they're saying. Your light body is your vehicle to graduate from the human condition to return to the source. Now, that's a deep word. To return to the source. Where is the source?
Inside out.
Inside of us.
That's the sexual energy going upwards, and
That's why they say we come from the source. But you actually using that sexual energy to clear this whole vessel, to clear the meridians, to transform it into a light body, so it could be self-sustaining. That's the indication you're returning back to the source. You are the source. You give power to all things. You gave power to that apple, to the steak. You don't need it. You're the source. That's why you need a light body. You are Ruach. There ain't no separation in nature. You ain't separate from nature. You are it. The source of it. So a light body comes about, and it gets lighter and lighter the more you return back to the source. How you know you return back to the source? You'll get healthier. That's guaranteed. You'll have more energy. You'll sleep less. And you'll be able to be food and drink free. Because you're the source. You have to give yourself that power and that permission. Oh man, did I say that? Yeah!
I have to say,
That's your journey.
I have to say sorry. But I don't believe it's true. I am the source. There is a source that gives us power, that gives us prana. We can call it in a different way.
Right.
But there is something that brings us something.
Yes, but
Right.
your light is part of this big source, right?
It's right, but I'm not.
You are part
I'm part
of
of
this.
I'm not the source. I'm part of the source. That's a big difference.
why not?
Why not?
Why I'm not the source?
Yeah.
Everything is one.
Yeah.
Everything.
There ain't no separation.
Why
There's no
does it
separation.
contradict?
Who is the I?
What? No, but why does it contradict? Why can both be true? Why can't you not be the source and be the source at the same time?
Yeah.
Right. Because remember I said earlier, now I know I'm the source, but I said all of y'all out from me is me.
Yeah.
Now on one level you're from me,
Yeah.
but you're not really from me. This is my imagination.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I understand what you're saying. But still, is a little bit of
It's something to soak in.
I heard it. I understand it. Still, it's not in my belief system.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I just take working with. All of us have to go through it.
No, I just don't believe it's true. That is all. When you say I am, you're not all. You're I. So you're part of something. You're not. That is all. When you say I, boom, you separate.
Because the way you viewing the universe right now is from right there. You ain't viewing it from nowhere else.
I have my explanation for this. Because God, or the source, or whatever it's called like, it wanted to, the reason, in my opinion, why the universe was born, was created, is because God wanted to experience itself in many different ways.
Yeah.
It means that you are itself. You are God's part of God that came here to experience itself. It means that you are it.
Yeah.
Also, you are not the complete it. You are both it and not the complete it at its all.
Yeah. That's a big difference. It's like a cell in my body will say, I am the body. No, you're not the body. You're a cell. And I can do like this, and you're not here. There is a big difference. And every cell have the same source, DNA.
There's something I got to get y'all real quick. I'll be right back. Have a conversation for 1 second. Oh, this is going to get good. I got to show y'all this.
אבל למה זה שונה? כי אתה יכול להגיד שהוא אתה,
נכון.
תרתי משמע.
ברור.
אבל מבלי שזה סותר.
נכון.
גם הטבע מדי פעם עושה
אתה הוא
לנו
שלם.
לאנשים ככה ואנחנו נעלמים.
זה בדיוק העניין.
אבל זה לא הופך אותך, אם יקרטו לך את האצבע, זה לא הופך את האצבע לפחות מחלק מהגוף.
חלק מהגוף. זה כל מה שהיה חסר לי פה. זה חלק מהגוף, זה לא הגוף.
כן, אבל
זה משמעותי כדי להבין, אם אני הסורס, מה אני צריך להבין דברים ולבנות כלים, אני לא, אני עושה טאק,
זה קצת סורס
אתה
רוצה.
הסורס בפריים של התו.
ואז
כמו
אני
ש-
לא הסורס.
זה כמו שהחלק עם האנרגיה של התו.
זה ניואנס כזה קטן, שמשנה כאילו, זה לא שאני לא מבין משהו.
השאלה אם יש לדבר הזה מרכז. אם יש לו מרכז, אתה אומר אלוהים הוא המרכז ואני לוויין. ואם אתה אומר שאין מרכז, אלא זה מחולק באופן שווה ומפוזר, ואין משהו ריכוזי, משהו אחד, אין אחד. והתפיסה שלך אומרת לדבר על זה שיש אחד.
יש לך.
hold up for 1 second.
גם בית התהילים מאמינים שיש אחד, כן? כאילו, זה די מובהק שם.
השאלה אם אחד,
תורה.
we talking about if there's a one, and he's not you, he's a different one. Or we are a part of the one.
Now-
It's the same.
But
It
it's-
is one and it's not you and you.
Now listen
he
at
is a
this.
part of- You are a part of everything.
Now listen at this. All right, check this out. There's something that we're dealing with. Remember we said that there's a mind problem that's taking place? There's a mind-body connection. But if the body's not being sustained and going through all of these problems in life, pain and suffering, there must be something wrong with the mind. Now what was put into our mind that's messing everybody up? So usually when I'm teaching, there's a physical body, an emotional body, a mental body, and a spiritual body, because that's how we've been taught. We have to split it all up. But when you get deeper into your self-realization, I'm looking at your emotional body, mental body, physical body. I'm looking at a spirit. And it's hard for people to put that all together due to we were taught to break things up. And I'm going to tell you where the problem is at. Go ahead and read right there, starting on the second. Read kind of loud so they can hear it. Now, and also it's being read read the author's name first, or the name of the book.
Biocentrism by Robert Lanza, page 37.
Biocentrism.
Biocentrism, Robert Lanza. But we'll put aside for the moment questions of the unity of consciousness. Let it suffice to say that any overarching meaning, in brackets, dominating or embracing all else. Unity of consciousness is not just difficult or impossible to prove, but is
All right, hold up.
fundamentally...
He said the unity of consciousness is basically difficult to prove. Why? Keep reading.
but is fundamentally incompatible with dualistic languages.
It is incompatible with dualistic languages. Now keep in mind that science even is proving the unity. That's why they call using the word dark energy and dark matter. They're talking about consciousness. First, when they started exploring physical matter, they went on a molecular level. Then they got even deeper. And they found out the deeper they went, the less dense it became. Until now they're at string theory. And then they're talking about how the observer could change the outcome of an experiment. So basically they're talking about this unified field. All of them is talking about it more and more. They used to try to stay away from it. But our dualistic languages with an S. They don't mean it's just English, Hebrew, Spanish. Everybody talking dualistic. And we're splitting it up from the whole, because we've been trained that way. Go ahead and read.
Dualistic languages, which adds an additional burden of making it difficult to grasp with logic alone.
It makes it difficult to grasp with just logic alone due to how we were taught with our vocabulary.
Why? Languages was created to work exclusively through symbolism and to divide nature into parts and actions.
To divide nature into parts and actions. So basically, oh man, this gets good. This goes back to what we talked about, your intention. The Japanese came straight out with it. It said, oh, that energy is your intention. Whatever you put your intent to, that gives the energy power. Right? So through your language, you basically cut yourself up in pieces. You're supposed to be working as a whole. The reality is you are whole. But through our language, we keep splitting ourselves up again. And that gives another power to take place. We got to learn to stop splitting ourselves up and get comfortable with who you are. And then that brings another energy, another power to what's taking place. It's just like diet changes. There's many out there. But every diet change is a belief system because the person cut themselves up from reality. That's still not reality. That's why you ain't going to see no healthy person on a diet change. That's not the thing giving them life. They separated themselves through life. See, I was just at some woman's house. This is how simple it is. She brought out she said, you want some tea? And I said, no, thank you. And when she was doing the tea, she just sat up there with her power of her mind to split up the tea. This is what this tea does. It's good for this. It does this. It does that. Now me, I ain't looking at it like that. I just look at it as just tea. If you're going to drink it, just drink it for enjoyment. That's how a planet person thinks. It's nothing but experience. But her mind, through nutrition, was trained. She started breaking it up in pieces, and that's how it's going to start operating. That language is very powerful. So just by logic alone, I hear what you're saying, because that's how we think it. But it's splitting us up, again, from the source.
But you are always splitting yourself. When you say chakras, you're splitting yourself.
Right.
When you say you need to understand, you split yourself. When you say the mind is the problem, you split yourself. So what I'm saying, when you split yourself, you're not the source. There is something that gives you power.
Now check this out.
So,
But there's no split. It's an illusion. You
Right.
cannot split. You can speak as you split, but it's an illusion.
It's
You
an
cannot
illusion.
Split.
you're right. But
Even
we
if you
live in
take
this-
one cell,
but
energetically,
we
you cannot
live
take
in this
it.
world of
Now-
separation.
Now check this out.
But
This separation.
in the physical world, we separate. In the physical world, but
Right.
in the energetic world,
Because we are in duality. And duality is okay if you know the truth and function within the truth.
Yeah.
But people are really making their language
Yeah.
have predominance over the truth. And they're separating themselves. So on one level, I just taught a class called the Unified Chakra. I'm glad you brought that up. 7 chakras. I teach it to do. But then they all become one.
Right.
The whole. That's our goal. In order to be fed by prana, we want to make this a whole entity with the atmosphere. No blockages. That's where it opens up at. But what do people do? I'm going to go get my third. How do I activate my third eye? Why did you just worry about your third eye? What about the other chakras? This is going to give me more intuition. No, it's not. All of them got to be open, become one. The wholeness again. Because that's how nature's working. It don't work in parts and pieces. But just like how he was saying when you just read there, it's okay to be in dualism. Yes, I'm functioning from my center playing this role as Elitom, but I also know my overriding thought is, oh, everybody's me, so I work with it differently. It's a whole different ball game. And so we have the power over words too. Let's take, for instance, this woman one time had her grandkids with her. They running all over the place. And she was talking to her friend. Words have power when you know their definitions. But you even got the power to change the word of the intent of the definition. We do it all the time with slang. So this woman said, yeah, I got my grandkids with me. They sure are bad. Her friend said, I know what you mean. Now she used the word bad. The definition, wouldn't you say they were good? Now she wasn't cursing at them. Her mind overrode the definition, the standard definition, and everybody knew what she was talking about. So we can change these definitions. So even though we might still speak dualistic to live in a dualistic reality, it's your intent of how you're looking at it that makes the difference on dealing with the chi, dealing with the ruach. Does that make kind of...
Yes.
I'm with you. I'm not like...
But it takes some, again, a lot of revelations will get revealed when you keep staying on the path also. That's one thing about it. See, one thing, you can talk about a philosophical point, and people had their debates in the beginning. But when you get in the system of the practices, that's where it's your own self-realization. Your own self-realization, because you might be in a situation one day where you just have to, I'm just saying, I'm the source. Right. And just start working on that level. And I like how there was a thing just put out, right? And dealing with our developments gets real good is, even though each and one of you are me, that gives me a chance for my development. See, we think working on yourself is just working right here. Everybody else in your environment around you is a quick way for you to start working on yourself. Uh-oh, did I say that? That's your split up parts of your soul. That's where it becomes good.
That's karma.
Huh?
That's karma.
Well, karma, I like how you brought that up. That's a word that means action. That's what it means. And we always practice in karma, because we're always doing actions. Even our thoughts is karma. But to clear up the negative karma, going into the positive, absolutely. You can work with other people around you, because that's what they're there for your development, for you to work on yourself. That's how you got to start looking at things. Don't look at them, oh, here comes Bob again. Man. But that's why living on prana again, listen at the teachings. Food is just 10%. Once you understand that everybody in your environment, your family you live in, is nourishment, that will strive you even more to start working with yourself, which is them. And the more that relationship get mellowed, it brings that energy that will sustain you because it's whole. Oh man, did I say that? That's true.
The relationship gets what?
Your relationships, every last one. The people that surround you in your life, everything, is put there for your development. It is you. So the more you work with yourself, it's more than just working here. It ain't about running away from Bob. Work with Bob.
Yeah.
Bob got the power to nourish you because it is you. It's a fragmented part of yourself. Whoa. So that's when it becomes good now, as you keep developing. This is how things are supposed to go. Because everything, see, we've been taught in the dualistic realm, imperfections, bad, but in the wholeness, everything's perfect. It's just the reality of how you're looking at it. Everything's going perfect. No flaws. But we got to change this perception. And it happens first dealing with, what did he say in that writing he wrote? About, try to find that one more time. Read it one more time so they can get this. This is prana.
I can read everything.
Well, start at the good part.
Meaning unity of consciousness is not just difficult or impossible to explain.
It's
to
difficult or impossible to explain, okay?
But it's fundamentally incompatible with dualistic languages
It's incompatible with dualistic languages.
which adds an additional burden of making it difficult to grasp with logic alone.
So it makes it difficult. We all up under this. It's difficult. He ain't say it was easy and it happened overnight. We're dealing with prana. It ain't the food. It's our dualistic thinking that we gave this in the mind. They're separating us from the unity frequency. Easier said than done. We can talk it, but to be one with it, how do we know? We got to start purging the mind. And how do we purge the mind? Let's go back to what they were saying the ka is. The ka, this is why meditation is the foundation of this. Meditation is the tool that's used to clear our consciousness. Now check this out. Let's use that word unified consciousness, which is everything. But the ancients used the word, let's go back to ruach. Ruach is just another word for consciousness. Right. It's just another word for prana. It's just another word for chi. Vital life force. So therefore, you become one with it. Look what the ka says. The raising of the sexual energy is essential. That means it's a need to clear out the meridian system of the body. Why is that? Because this is the ruach. This is frozen light. It ain't separated from it. That's the illusion. Now we even got to change spirituality of how we was looking at it. The body ain't me, it's just a vehicle. No, it is me, if you want to take it up into the light. Uh-oh, did I say that? Yeah, this is consciousness. This is the ruach. That's why you start taking care of, other things of the Lord. It ain't no separation. This don't mean nothing. Let's throw it away. But that's how the old spirituality was. To die and go somewhere else. But we're bringing it back now. You coming back into your body. Waking up out of your sleep. You're already living in heaven. Now, didn't a lot of them from chi, ka, they said it's the air. The air is a substance that sustains us. The air is so organized that we even got radio channels going through it. They ain't going on top of each other. It's so organized, we figured out how to use it. This is a medium we living in. And it's also protecting our thoughts, it's bringing our energy fields together, and it keeps you as you, and we're living in it. That's just how organized it is. And the cells of our body is under moral law. That's why the body already tells the truth. Now, if this tells the truth, why wouldn't you want to be part of the truth? We're just throwing this away, beating up on it. This is hooked up with creation already. This is why don't you want to be this?
It's dense.
We started hating it. We were taught to hate it through dualistic language. But to live on prana, what's the message? You got to start loving yourself again. All of this, the totality, and let it come on out. That's the glue that holds everything together. But we have to break the dualistic thought. What is one thing people like to say? I can't live forever. Well, the physical body has to die, but my soul lives forever. That's the dualistic language again. This is your soul. Soul just comes from what? Sun. It sounds the same. Soul. What? It's the ruach. It's all one. We split ourselves up due to the language again. Yeah, your soul lives forever once you understand what it is. You're building your soul. How do you build your soul? Through awareness, through this realization. That's how I get built. Right now you don't have it. A person that dies don't have a soul. Oh, that went too far.
Okay. because the person that died cannot speak, so he can't split himself.
Right. Now say that again.
Because once you die, you cannot speak, so you cannot use language, so you cannot split yourself.
You can't split yourself. Right.
So if you say, I'm a soul, you split yourself.
Right.
Right, because you're a soul, you're not everything.
You're not everything. Oh man, this is good. So that's why spirituality, we got to get into this. You got to die first. You know, they was using those that say die to reach into what? Die to what? Old concepts and ideas. That's what's been killing us. That's the death right there. That's the spiritual death. The spiritual death, we must get rid of our last education. The way we're looking at things. To come into the fullness or the wholeness of our experience. That's where the word holy comes from. It's whole. Ain't no in-betweens. Righteousness comes from righteous cycles. Just like how everything's circulating, the sun comes out, you're a certain way, the moon come out, it's affecting you anyway. The body's already hooked up to it. Now the mind got to start realizing this. Oh man, I'm already full. I'm already getting nourished right now. Right? So that's when food becomes an experience instead of who I am. Whew. This is heavy, ain't it? It takes work. Nobody's arguing that. Easier said than done. But we got the keys. We're going into that direction. And we're going to keep on moving on as we come back into oneness. And it's a challenge because the systems of the world don't support the oneness consciousness at this time. It doesn't. Because to make a livelihood again, it'll easily put you back into that duality. To work to the sweat of your brow into the grave. Right. But the oneness frequency is a whole nother frequency. But it has the power. It is the superpower, the ultimate power that has the power to bring you whole and then make another system for itself to be sustained. That's where we're at. Oh, man. So this is good once again. Y'all want to do some Qigong? All right. Y'all can take y'all a 10-minute break, and then we'll get back in doing some good meditation. Man, enjoyed y'all once again.